And good day. Welcome to the Viking Coaches Show, brought to you again here at Big Mike's Coffee Shop, located here in beautiful downtown Newland here on Panola Street. Definitely the scents and the smells of the season in here. We got the Christmas tree in the background. We have lots of different items here on the menu, a winter menu going on right now, as well as a lot of the regular items available here at Big Mike's. We also appreciate, of course, Johnson Entertainment Group, Kenny Johnson, and all the commitment that he has to the athletic programs, to the basketball programs, and we appreciate the beautiful light display we had last week. He pulled it off.
Awesome.
It looked great.
It's cool.
I thought it was really neat for our pregame, so we were excited to see that. Look forward to seeing that throughout the season as well. We do appreciate Kenny and his sponsorship and assistance in making this possible. Here with Coach Allison Phillips of the Lady Viking basketball team. And Coach, haven't talked since the last couple of games you played. You had a couple of conference contests, and right now 2-0 in conference. A win over Madison, of course, at home, and then a win on Tuesday night over in Swannanoa, over at Owen. Let's just jump back to the Madison game for just a second. It seems like with that matchup, your girls came out really firing on all cylinders offensively. It just looked like they were really, really in tune that night. Can you talk to us a little bit about kind of what led to that matchup? Of course, you had a little bit of a break in between, but they showed no signs of rust or anything coming out there.
Yeah, we were super excited to play after having like a whole week layoff. It's so hard when you play so many games in a row and then you have like a huge gap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was really good. They just wanted to play. Like we just wanted to be in the gym. We wanted to be playing basketball, and we were excited to do that. We knew that, we talked all week. We were supposed to have 3 games. Of those games, really the most important one was Madison because it's conference, and that's, ultimately the goal is to win a conference championship. So you got to take care of business every single night. In our conference, you really can't take days off. And, we knew that setting a tone with how we played Madison was a big deal. I think when I was getting ready to have WIT last year, Madison ran us a zone that gave us some trouble, and we maybe played them to a closer game than we thought we should have down there.
Right.
And then did a really good job of handling them at Avery. So we wanted to just kind of set a good tone. They played Enka to a 3-point game a couple nights before. We know Enka's a good team, and so we knew we had to come out and be ready.
With that matchup too with Madison, scoring wise, offensively, I think you only had one player in double figures with Marley out 12, but it was all spread out. I think you had 9 different players that scored. What does that say about the depth of your team and just offensively what you can do with what you have?
I mean, ultimately, like we always say, we feel like we're 14 players deep. But of those 14 players, you could take the guys who rotate in for us and they could very easily start for any other team in our conference, and probably be top of the conference. It's awesome to give them the recognition that they deserve. They work exceptionally hard every single day in practice. They compete every single day, and for them to get extended minutes and opportunities to show how great of basketball players they are is amazing. As a coach, you love that. It's hard on sometimes on your starters because they're going, I usually play a lot and get to play it all. But, at the end of the day, they love each other so much. Chella Arnett scored her first varsity points. And
the fans love that, by the way.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
The students went crazy.
And I love our student section, the energy, our bench energy. There were just so many good things that come away from a night like that. That's what the whole thing's about. It's those are games you remember. Chella will never forget that, and neither will we. So giving those guys an opportunity to showcase their talents is amazing.
And then, of course, coming off that game, you had another conference matchup on Tuesday night down at Swannanoa against Owen. I believe it was 62-8 the score, I think, in that matchup. Again, one of those games where your defense was able just to limit anything Owen tried to do. And, of course, we mentioned earlier, talking just off camera, about the difference with having a JV program versus not having one. And you could kind of see both Owen and Madison not having JV girls programs. You kind of wonder how much that might detrimentally affect their development on the varsity level. But that's not you all's problem. No. So tell me a little bit about just kind of how that matchup went and just how you feel like the girls played against the Owen club.
Well, Owen is a team that you never know what you're going to get because they could be really good because of their location, because of their ability to access talent. That's a hotbed for basketball. But historically, it's not been a great program since the days of Corinne and Kristen Metcalf and all those guys. So that was even before my time. So I think the biggest thing for them is where they don't have a JV program, that does hurt them, honestly. I think you can't expect kids to go from middle school to varsity and not expect there to be struggles. You know, but again, like they have another new coach this year, so hopefully, you know, Coach Gardner will do a good job in building that program back up. I mean, because I think they could be very competitive. Their volleyball team is very competitive. Their softball team is very competitive. They have athletes in their school. But, you know, I've been there where you've got a lot of young guys and you've got a lot of guys who aren't super skilled at basketball, and you've got to find good things throughout the season when you're struggling. And you know, for us, like, we've given up 15 points in 2 games. That is a testament to our defense and what we want to do.
That's good no matter what level you're on.
Yeah, and we're happy about that. I mean, you know, and that's without our, you know, probably top 8 playing a whole lot. And so I love that our other guys it's a defensive identity and a defensive culture through our program. So ultimately, like when our rotation guys go in, they don't want to give up any points. You know, they want to score, and they're able to do that. And so it's just a huge testament to how talented they are, how deep we can potentially be, and how important it is to give your rotation guys minutes, especially in games like that. Because I have been a part of situations where they don't get minutes, you leave your starters in, and those guys never get in a you know, flow, or they never get comfortable. And then when you need them, they're very uncomfortable. You know, they've not played in a lot of games. So my goal is always, like, if we have to go 9, 10, 11 deep, we can go 9, 10, 11 deep. And we can beat you with our 9, 10, 11 because they're just as good as your 1, 2, 3. So
you never know because of injuries, because of foul trouble. You know, you have a lot of different factors that can come into a matchup from game to game. Looking into, as we're recording here on this Thursday, you have Watauga coming into town this evening, and then Enka coming up on Friday evening. So is there any concern on your part as a coach about the fact that you've had these 2 previous games lately that kind of one-sided, but then you have these both very competitive teams with Watauga and Enka both coming home here to Avery. Can you talk just about kind of your mindset and the team's mindset going into these 2 games?
Well, we are not okay with how the first Watauga game went. And as a collective team and a unit, we are just very frustrated. We watched film again yesterday, just like got the icks, you know. It's like, oh, we played so bad, and we were still right there. It was a 1-point game with like 45 seconds left. So, you know, there's just a sense of we just got to play better, you know, and we got to play better in big games. And that's ultimately this team's goal is be the team that beats Watauga for the first time in however many years. Be the team that beats Heritage for the first time in however many years. They want that badly. And it's a balance of helping them want that so badly, but helping them play free and helping them play relaxed. And not being so obsessed with winning it that you almost take yourself out of the way you normally play.
There's a lot of pressure with that.
Yeah, there is. And, you know, my hope is that they are just hungry, you know, and that is something we're never going to call off. Like, I want them to stay hungry, whether we win tonight by double digits or whether we're in a super close game at the end. My goal is for them to always be hungry for the next game. And we talk about in our locker room, you know, tonight's the most important game because it's what's right in front of us. We're not going to think about Enka till tomorrow. We're not going to think about Heritage till after Enka. Like, we are only thinking Watauga right now and really helping them stay focused. I felt like we had a great practice yesterday. We got a lot lift in. We were able to watch some film and really execute our offense in our half-court set. So we're ready.
You mentioned having the icks watching that film, but if you throw out the first half of that matchup, it was really a tale of 2 halves. Yes, they ended up winning, I think, that game by 7, but still, you all came back from so far behind in that third quarter and was so dominant in that third quarter. As good a quarter as you all played all season, I feel like. So you feel like you can take something from that first game into the game here tonight.
Well, we were just chasing the whole first half, and it felt like we were just behind the 8 ball in so many ways. They were shooting well. It was their second game of the season. You know, they had lost their first game to High Brighton. They were super excited to have a home game. They had been, you know, it's a home game on a Saturday. Like, all the balls fell into place for everything to just kind of be a disaster for us. But there's no excuses tonight. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where, as a coach, you're super excited, but you're also like, okay, you know, like, here's your chance. You're healthy. You're ready to go. You've had rest. Let's go, you know, and now it's time to, like, there's no reason that we should not be ultra competitive in this game.
You mentioned health. I know Emma didn't play, Emma Clark, in the game with Madison. I think she did a concussion, I want to think, or something, or
Emma's
injury.
dealing with a knee.
Knee injury. Can you tell me just about maybe her health and the health of other players, just kind of how y'all are right now physically?
Yeah, so I will say God is very good and he is very gracious, because we thought she probably had torn her ACL based on the pain and everything that night. After meeting with Joe and her seeing the doctor, we don't think it's that necessarily. They're still waiting on an MRI in January, but she was able to have like a lot practice with Joe yesterday, our athletic trainer, and that was good. That's a good sign to see her moving the way she's moving, and hopefully she'll be able to maybe wear a jersey tonight, warm up a little bit. I don't know that she's able to go into a game right now, because we want to think about long term. But Emma's we call Emma a dog, because she's a dog on defense. She's so aggressive. She wants to do so well, and Emma comes from a basketball family. Her sisters played for me. Like, she just wants to play so bad. And when you have a player like that, you want them on the court, because something always happens with Emma. Like, you never know what's going to happen. It might be wild. It might be a hot mess, but it's always so intentional. Most of the time it's something good for us. And so I'm excited to see her hopefully get back on the court after Christmas, and she just means so much to our team. She's a senior, she's a great leader. She's already dealt with so many injuries. We're just really praying that it's nothing significant and that she can get back with us.
Of course, we're not looking ahead to Enka per se on Friday, but of course that's, as we mentioned, a decent team from a decent area down there. That Asheville area, a hotbed for athletics, and I know they're again a non-conference, be the silent night game, on Friday. Just about what you know about that program. What are some of your expectations? Have you seen them over the summer or any other times just in scouting? Just what do you expect to see from the Sugar Jets?
Yeah, we played them a couple years ago in the summer, and they're good shooters. I think that's the thing that they kind of hang their hat on. They're very long and athletic. They're similar to Watauga a lot. Like we're basically playing two very similar teams back to back. Two teams that in the past have been hard for us to play against because we didn't defend the three very well. So, I think that's something that we are constantly preaching, how we close out, how we identify shooters, how well we, can contain somebody's best shooter. So it's great to play these games because we know that there are teams like that in our conference. We know that Bailey's going to shoot super well at Polk, and we know that Hendersonville is super guard heavy. So I think it's a perfect pre-Christmas matchup for us. I don't love necessarily that it's back-to-back, but I love the depth of my squad, and I don't have any problem with playing back-to-back now. I used to worry about that a lot as a younger coach, and Coach Shelton told me one time, she said, you need to prepare the scout and let them prepare their bodies, and don't worry as much about, she said, they're kids. They can handle a lot more than we give them credit to be able to handle. And that's a really true thing. They go to AAU tournament and play 4 games in a day.
Right.
And I'm over here worried about a back-to-back. Like, we have to control what we can control, and we have to play our brand of basketball. And if we get tired, we've got a whole bench full of people that are dying to play, and that can go out there and, as we've seen, compete just at the same level as our starters can. So. And
given the weather up here, playing back-to-back days
that's what's going to happen.
It's not unusual.
It prepares us, for the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you do well in that, you're definitely playing back-to-back on the second and third round game. So, it's good for us. I like these early tests.
Yeah. And following these 2 games, again, not having a Christmas tournament this year, you're going to have a little bit of a break. How do you kind of stay sharp and get ready for coming back for the beginning of the year and jumping into conference immediately again with Heritage? Yeah.
So we got Heritage and Hendo that week that we come back of January 6th. So I'm super excited. I think we're going to need the rest. Like, ultimately, I think it's good for us not to have a Christmas tournament this year in particular, because we do open with Heritage on that day. So it gives us plenty of time to scout, it gives us time to get healthy, it gives us time to rest, and it gives us time to just, we get so caught up in like the hustle and bustle of basketball that it really sometimes can take away from just really focusing on your family and focusing on Christmas. And I have 3 little kids, and I don't want to be worried about a Christmas tournament this year. It's Whit's first Christmas. I want to be helping my kids understand, that Christmas is about Jesus, and it's about being with your family, and it's about, being together. And we definitely consider our basketball team a family. I mean, my kids grew up with 30 big sisters.
Right.
But it's nice for them to have time with their family, and for that not to be interrupted with a Christmas tournament, having to immediately, the day after Christmas, okay, now we're preparing.
Jump
Then we
right on
gotta
a bus and go somewhere.
talk about
Right.
travel. We got to talk about who we're playing against. And then last year, Maddie got hurt.
Yeah.
And that really made a big thing for us. So I'm thankful.
It's good to say. Not that you'll never play another one,
No,
but it's an
no.
opportunity.
And I think Coach Gage and I have talked, next year we'll probably jump back into one somewhere. But I think considering all things, this is a good year for us to take a little bit of a break and give us time to just get back in the gym and work on fundamentals, shooting, practice. Like,
Right.
We get so caught up in a scout for the next game that you don't have enough time to let them just shoot. Work on ball handling, work on ball screens and defense and things like that. So we need that time to prepare for Heritage, and I'm glad it'll be allotted.
Didn't ask about any individual efforts in the game against Owen. Can you speak to any individual play, defensively, offensively, that you felt were kind of outstanding?
Well, I do think, Marley's such a funny person. She Marley can be an and one machine. And we are really teaching her to hunt and ones. I think she shot like 275 free throws last year. That's an exceptional amount of free throws.
Right.
And she's a good free throw shooter, but we're really trying to help her elevate to where she is finishing. It's not
Sure.
about getting to the free throw line. It's about finishing the
Scoring.
shot. If you get to the free throw line, great. If you don't, okay, we hit the layup. So she was ready to do push-ups on the bench the other night against Madison because she just couldn't, she's going off too like we teach her to do, but it's just like ball wasn't falling. So it was good to see her finish some shots. A couple different plays she got pushed pretty hard because they get frustrated.
Sure.
And we've been there, rightfully so. You're getting beat. Somebody's coming up. You're going to give them a little extra love. But it was good to see her finish that. I think it was good for her to see the ball go in the basket like that. I think she had 23 in that game. It was good to see Caroline hit 2 threes. Because her shooting's kind of been hot, cold a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, I think Kylie played a great game defensively. Kylie's golly. I mean, if Kylie Holtzclaw is the person you've got guarding you, good luck.
Yeah.
Her and Callie Ray both, they're just defensive, they're so locked down. So it was great to see them be able to go out and focus on their offense a little bit more, and get some shots to go in, and that's always big for us. So just good confidence boosters going into conference, and it gives us a little bit of a heads up of what to know is coming that second half of conference too. The game at Madison will obviously be probably more competitive because that's a hard place to play.
Yeah, it's a interesting location. I like their gym a lot, but it's a different gym.
It is
very much a
different.
throwback.
Yeah, and we call it the pit,
Yeah.
and it's just you just feel like it's hard to shoot in sometimes, and that's where the conference tournament is. So
Right.
we've got to be on in there and figure out how to play there and play well. So
8-1. I guess how do you feel with that record at this point in the season? I mean, of course 9-0 would have been nice, but 8-1's still a pretty good record. And it seems, I know I was reading at least the Charlotte Observer. Not that I read a lot of regional papers, but they have their sports people doing their rankings, and I didn't see Avery's name in there again this week. I'm just curious about kind of how you feel with 8-1. You guys kind of a little under the radar, you feel like, at the state level right now?
I mean, this time of year is super hard. Samuel really gets into rankings. He's max preps. I think we're ranked like 9 right now in 2A. I try not to focus too much on that stuff right now because ultimately Cherokee's only played 4 games. Bishop's only played so many games. Like, we know who we're watching out for in our in our region. We know who to look for. It's weird not having Heritage and Polk and those teams in our classification now.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I've been 1-8 going into Christmas before, so
Right.
8-1 I'll take. The goal is to be 10-1, and ultimately the game against Watauga is really big because depending on how their season goes, they're a little down this year. If they don't win some games, that's going to ultimately hurt us a lot.
Right.
And it should help us because of strength of schedule. But again, it's
You have to
who's
get your
who's
opponent's
and your
opponents.
opponent's opponent,
Yeah.
and you're looking at all those factors, and so it's big, and ranking wise tonight's really big, and so is the Enka game. So hopefully go our way, and it'll end up helping us go 10-1, and I don't care where they rank us. We're willing to play anybody.
You're going to show up wherever it's at. It doesn't matter,
yeah,
right?
If the ball's bouncing and the gym's there, we're going to go and play.
That's it. You've had to go to the Greystone days of the world, so you understand.
Gosh,
That's long trips.
As long as I don't have to go back to Highlands ever again,
Right,
I'm good. Because
right. That's a long
I
trip.
was unwell.
Oh, that was not good.
No,
a long
that's
way
just
to go.
It's a super tight road, and I don't have anxiety, but I was not okay.
Yeah.
going on that bus trip. So
pretty town. No offense to the town of
yep,
Highlands.
no offense
We
to the
think it's a
town.
beautiful
I like
town.
their coach. I like everybody there. I do not ever want to have to go back up there again.
Yeah.
So
That's the thing with a great record too. If you keep a strong record,
Yeah.
people come to you.
yes, and
You
that's
know,
a
a great
huge
advantage.
People don't realize the advantage that our gym, our atmosphere, and our community create. I think we're going to see that on full display tonight. It's Hallie's birthday, so shout out to her.
All right.
And so I think it's going to be a good night.
All right. Well, Coach, I appreciate the time as always.
Sir.
I appreciate that. And we appreciate Big Mike's Coffee Shop hosting us here, as well as Kenny Johnson and the Johnson Entertainment Group, his fine conglomerate of stage building and event planning and setting up and everything that they do, and setting up that nice red light. I love the pregame atmosphere. That's really cool.
It's
so
awesome.
We appreciate the work that he did for that as well. So, Coach, thank you again. Wish you the best of luck against Watauga and against Enka coming up. And if we don't talk before Christmas, very Merry Christmas to you as well.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much for watching.